Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know how we do, man. It's the Pivot fam. Hey, we are international players or scooters or bikers or skaters here in Salt Lake City at the 2025 X Games. I got my boy Chan. You ready?
Man, let's get it, Freddie.
I'm ready. It rhymed with Freddie, so you know I'm ready.
Hey, we're about to sit down with Dashawn Jordan and Ryan Williams, man. Y'all tap in.
Hold up, limitless, niggas to me got pinning it. I fought to hear to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless, niggas to me got pinning it. I fought to hear to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Bruh.
What's good, man? What's up with it? What's up with it, man?
Baby.
How you feeling? Hey, how you? I'm
feeling
feeling
good.
alive. You saved your boy. You saved your boy.
You got it, bro.
Yes,
Hey,
sir. What's
it was-
good with it?
You know, it was a little difficult. You know what I'm saying? I tried my the old man tried to skateboard.
Yeah.
It ain't for me.
It was only right. You on the skate course, you got X Games, you gotta try it at least once.
No doubt, man. Dashawn Jordan, man, welcome to the show. When we were getting ready to do this, everybody was like, you gotta sit with him, you gotta sit with him.
That's love, that's love.
I think it's really cool that the X Games itself understands the star power that you have. But the cool part about our show, bro, is like, we like to get to know the person, right? Who is the dude that's out here pulling the tricks, willing to risk his life, willing to risk his body to do this? And I learned something new about you. Like, you didn't meet your pops till late in life.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's it like when you get the Facebook message that you got a sister and her mom wants her to know her brother?
that feeling is crazy for me because like it was kind of one of those things where I never had like any animosity or anything built towards my father because my mom never like portrayed him as that or never talked down his name, you know. It was only like little moments like, oh, like you just like your dad, or, like you remind me, you know, of your pops and your dad and that. So I wanted that missing piece because, you know, my sister's pops, you know, was present in his life, and I just wanted to meet that other half, you know what I mean? And so when I got that message, it had been some years of like kind of entertaining the idea of like trying to figure out where he was, because the crazy thing is my mom had friends who had met my dad because he was also in Phoenix. So anytime she had a friend who knew my dad, they would always say he looked just like his dad. And I was at an age of like, you know, I was like 13. So I'm hearing it, like I'm understanding it. So I'm like, what? Like, dang, these people know my pops? Like, what? And I have Facebook, you know what I mean? And I always just go on and check the messages just because like all my family, you know, who are on Instagram, they have it. And someone was like, check your request messages. I was actually back in Phoenix and this had no idea in my mind the trip was gonna go this way. It was a quick trip. And I checked my Facebook messages and like, I see a message and like the beginning of the message intrigued me because it was like, hey, you know, this is Arlene, you know, I have a daughter by your dad, you know what I mean? Like, reach out to me if you want to know more. Here's my number. And I was like, this is a crazy lead on like meeting my pops. Like, is this real? Like, is this actually like real?
Right.
So then I was like, all right, I was like, I'm gonna explore the option, you know what I mean? So I text the number. She's like, hey, just starts dropping the bomb on everything. Like, here's a picture of your dad. Here's a picture of your dad and his new wife. Here's a picture of your brother. Here's a picture of your older sister. Here's phone numbers to your grandpa, your grandma's house, you know, your dad's wife's, like all these. So I'm like, my mind's exploding because I'm like, wait, like, is this really gonna be the time like where I actually meet my pops, you know? Like, I'm like tripping. I'm like, no way. So I start reaching out. The phone calls actually were funny and interesting because the first person I called was my grandpa. You know, my grandma and grandpa are separated. And he was real laid back. He was like, you know, he's like, hey, you said, so, you know, who is this? You know, I'm gonna take your number, I'm gonna give it to him, you know, and it's up to him and what he wanna do with it. So I was like, all right, bet. I was like, I appreciate, you know, give him the number. I called my papa crib, which is like my grandma's husband. And I think my younger brother answered at first, and he was kind of oblivious, didn't know what was going on. So he gave the phone to my papa, and he gave him the phone, and he started yelling, like, to the point where I couldn't even understand what he's saying. And I'm on the phone, I'm like, yo, I can't understand what you're saying, you know, like, I just called, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need nothing from you guys, I just want to meet this side of the family, you know, like, I want to meet my pops, like, by all means. And so he kept yelling, so I hung up the phone. I was like, I can't understand what you're saying. Like, hung up, he calls back, still yelling. I'm like, I can't understand you, you know? Like, can we talk without yelling? Right. Hang up again, and the third time he called me back, he was like super relaxed and mellow, and he was like, so who was this again? I was like, you know, my name's Dashawn, you know, I'm one of Torrin's sons, you know, like, I just want to meet you guys, real cool. I left that there. Then I'm chilling, same thing he said. I'm gonna give the number to him, it's up to him what he want to do with it. So I'm like, that's cool with me, like that's more than I've ever gotten in my years of 23 years of living.
So when you finally got to him, though, like, and talked to him, what was that like? Or was it your brothers that you met first? Like,
Yes.
how did it go?
So I'm at home, I get a call from a dude on the phone. He's like, hello? I'm like, who's this? And he's like, it's your brother. Like, my grandparents talking about, like, somebody called, talking about I got another brother or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, my name Dashawn. Like, what's up? Nice to meet you. Like, nice to meet you, brother.
And they just pulled up on you?
So later that night, and this is the thing that happened before that actually happened, because then I get a call from a woman, and she's like, this is your auntie, blah, blah. We're talking for a little bit. And then she's like, he's on the phone. And I'm like, who on the phone? She's like, your dad. And he was like, hello, son? I was like, what? I was like, bro, no way. Like, I'm hearing this dude's voice right now. I'm like, what? Like, you even call me honestly. But then after I got the phone, my brother texts me, and he's like, yo, like what you on later? I'm with our younger brother Cameron. Like, if you free, like can I pull up on you? So I'm like, bet, you know, I'm gonna need some Mexican food. My mom and my sister. I asked them, is it cool if my brother, you know, like they also tripping too, cause they like, what? Like, so he pulled up on me. First thing he said when he walked in, he like, bro, he like, you look just like this dude. Like, and then he made a joke. It was like, I don't know if I want to hug you or still off on you. So we start dying laughing. We go sit down, get a beer. You know what I mean? It's funny because we get Dos Equis. He like Dos Equis. I like Dos Equis. My pops like Dos Equis. So it's like all this stuff coming together. We sharing similarities, talking, we tripping out.
Yeah.
And then the next day, that was like the big day, because the day I meet my pops, he's like, yo, tomorrow I'm gonna pick you up in the morning. We're gonna go around and meet everybody. So we go to meet my grandma and grandpa. That was the people I called, they were yelling on the phone. That was funny to meet them. Everybody said I look like my dad. They're like, bro, you his twin. Like, and then took me around the whole day to meet everybody. At night was a block party in this neighborhood in Arizona called, you know, Vistas. And I met him for the first time at the block party. In a neighborhood I've been chilling in, because my other, you know, homie and cousin, you know, find out later he's my cousin. I've been going over there because he's from that neighborhood.
Dang.
So I'm seeing all these people who my dad know, and they like, what? Like, Torio Pops? I'm like, yeah, just found this my dad. Like,
But bro, from your side too, because my wife met her dad in her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Her biological dad. She thought somebody else was her dad, you know what I'm saying, lives.
yeah.
And then she met him, and then from my perspective of being successful and me and my wife's success and all, now we like, damn, now it's a new person in our life. You don't really know. Bro, you ain't working at the Exxon.
Facts.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? You a star. Like,
Appreciate
how did
that.
that go with them now, with you now taking somebody else, I guess, emotionally on, with you already established yourself as a grown man and a very successful grown man?
It was crazy to me because, you know, to rewind, like, my whole life, like, I wanted that peace. So me, I was so excited, like, to just meet my dad, to where I was like, yo, like, I just want to meet my dad, you know? And then when I met him, with all that, the number one thing I kept saying on the phone call, and I think it also intrigued them once they dove deeper and, like understood how I was and saw, what I'm doing and my successes, I told everybody on the phone, I was like, I don't want nothing from you guys. I just want to meet you guys. Like, I don't need nothing. I just want to meet, you know, this side of the family, you know? And then I think when they found out later, it tripped them out, because they're like, what the heck, you know? Like you know, it was more like, oh, like we want to get to know you. And where it got tougher at was with my mom, because my mom, you know, been a single parent all her life, and she's really protective over me.
Yeah.
So you know how that went. My pops coming in, she like, you know, you better not like hurt my baby, but I be asking for nothing from my baby, like, you know. So it was, which I give her, you know, a lot of credit for, because even the part which was crazy was when I first, you know, I invited him out to California. I had a contest there, and I brought him out, you know, put him in a hotel. My mom and them also came out, put them in a hotel. You know, they were staying with me, and it was a crazy time because he had to shower and stuff before his room was ready, and my mom and them were on their way back. So my plan was to get him out of the crib before they got back, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. But I knew my mom was chilling. She wasn't gonna, you know, if I'm happy, she's happy. So he's still there. They end up coming back. He's downstairs, and being as bold as he is, he comes upstairs and goes outside to give her a hug. And I was like, I remember looking outside like, bro, like, no way, this dude just did it.
Get your ass in the
Bro,
basement.
no way, bro. and we all hung out, and it was cool. Like, you know, she didn't like raise any tension. Like, she, you know, my mom kept it real gangster with it, you know what I mean? Because she just like, is so cool. I think she was happy for me to experience that too. And so it was good. The first couple of years was a little rocky. Everybody, you know, getting used to, you know, her getting used to saying, I'm gonna kick on my dad, or I'm gonna phone him. Now it's all smooth, you know, and it's good. She asks about how he's doing. He asks about how she's doing. I have a birthday. They all pull up in Arizona. But it was it was hard, because I was also like, respectfully, in my head, I'm like, I'm getting to know you. I don't really know you.
Yeah.
You know? But like I'm taking it, you know, as like you're my father, so that respect level and
Right.
that connection's already there, but let me like ease into it, you know what I mean? And I always joke about it with him to this day, because my mom's favorite thing was like the time where she really like disconnected was like, he used to be like, oh, I'm gonna pick him up to get a haircut, right? And it was one time I was sitting in the curb and he never showed up. And that messed her up. And that was the last time where she was like, okay, like, you're not seeing that. So every time I mess with him now, we like best friends now.
You talk about messing up, and for people watching our show, obviously this is the pivot, so I want to pivot the conversation a bit.
100%.
You look around, everybody's falling, but we're at practice, right? And I do understand no risk it, no biscuit.
Facts.
So practice makes perfect. But in football, we fall on grass. Like my last time out here in Utah, I was in Park City. I retired snowboarding because I got tired of falling for free.
Yeah.
You guys come out here as you're building in your career to try to, become an elite skateboarder. You got to do it over and over again until you perfect your craft. What kept you going without the sponsorship dollars? Was it the money? Was it the passion? Was it the adrenaline? Like, kind of help us dive into the reason why we're here at 30 years celebrating X Games and being able to watch you compete.
I would say definitely it was the passion, because like, once again, like, I come from like very different worlds from skating, I was in a dance group for years. I played football for years. Like, skating was the last thing I picked up and tried. And then when I got into it, it was really just off of like some homies I knew were doing it. I liked it and I wanted to try it, and then I fell in love with it. And it was just passion driven, because I had no idea the success that can come from skating. Like, I had no clue. Nobody in my family comes from skating whatsoever. Like, to this day, I'm still teaching them what some of this stuff is, but I just got attracted to it. And there was a time where I was even in high school, like, with my coaches, they were trying to get me so bad to like play football or wrestle for a year, because they're like, yo, we know you'll get a scholarship, like just, and I remember I called all my homies one day, like outside of school, and I was like, yo, like, should I take a year off and just like, play ball, or like, should I take a year off and wrestle? And all of them were like, no, just keep skating, like, like you in it, like you love it, just keep skating. And I just kept skating, but it was definitely passion driven, and falling, like that's the addicting thing about skateboarding is like, not only do you learn things within the sports, but like there's a lot of characteristics that like you can take from skateboarding to your everyday life, falling and getting back up, like getting past like, mental blocks, or like, like that you might not think you could do something, then you do the trick and you go through like trials and tribulations, and you figuring out like math problems in real times with this stuff. Like, I take that to like any walk of life, whether it's, other passions I'm into, writing stuff, music, I do music, family stuff, like I really just like use that analogy and just say like, if you fall, get back up. It's gonna be bad sometimes, it's gonna be good sometimes, but as long as you show up and you're trying, like that's all that matters. It's like that 1%, rule is like,
but like,
just do your thing.
Some of these dudes are prodigies, right? Like we said with Nigel before, right? At 11 years old, he's getting his first wins. You know what I mean? They're going over him and Jagger, going back and forth, in the Olympics. And it seems like something you had to be tapped into for a long time. What were some of the difficulties in starting late, even being as athletic as you are?
I would say, me is like, I'm like, and I feel like sometimes it even happens now where I have to like, keep the balance. Is like, the background I came from was like music, dancing, and all that other stuff. So like, skateboarding, number one passion, I love it, but sometimes I find myself, like I try to evenly distribute my passion for the things I'm passionate about and like to do. So sometimes, you might sacrifice a day to skate to go to the studio, or you might sacrifice a day. And so, I mean, that might be the only difference, because, some of the homies, like these dudes, like all they knew was skating. And, quote me if I'm wrong, I'm not like in a lot of life, but for example, like Jagger, like I've known Jagger since like Jagger was like this tall from Arizona. We were both super young growing up. He has an indoor park back home. And I started hanging out with them and their pops, because when they would train in the park, their dad just wanted me to pull up and skate with them to keep good vibes and good energy and stuff. So he would have a worker, one of the teachers, pick me up like every Thursday to come skate for like an hour or two, just to like be in there, good vibes, keep them, sane, and so they're not like, overthinking and stressing. And I watched like, like by book, it was like numbers. Like he had to do a certain, like it was a full-on regimen he had to do. And I never, like I didn't have that around me, or I didn't grow up in that environment like that. So for me, and it was also inspiring, like I did not think anything other than it being inspiring. I was like, dang, like I wonder, like having that discipline, or like that different, like what that difference makes, and it shows in these dudes, competitively too,
Bro, I'm trying to listen to you, and there are people over there dying
No,
Bro,
they're flying.
bro,
Yeah.
I ain't
Yeah.
heard, bro,
Hit that ground.
bro, it's been like 7 folks, bro, just in that answer, that's how bro,
Yeah.
folks falling on their back. Like, they talk about baseball all the time, right? Baseball's the sport that Hall of Famers fail 70% of the time, right? Or if you fail 65% of the time, you're the greatest that's ever lived. Talk about that ratio or percentage in this, because I haven't seen people land anything in
Yeah.
practice, right? They're trying the more difficult things. How hard is it to know that you're gonna fail more than you succeed, and you gotta be ready when the lights are on?
That's the beautiful thing about skateboarding is it's so humbling. Like it's gravity. It depends on what the mood of the gravity is that day. Like you can have a trick you do every day. You're confident rolling up to it. You're like, oh, in your mind, you're like, I'm committing, so I'm gonna do it like I always do it. And it might not go that way because the board and gravity got other plans. You know, you don't know. So that's like the feeling we chase. And no matter how much you practice, no matter what, your percentage could be better of like how many times you might hit the trick or like, you know, just because there's different parts of the trick. If you have a trick consistent and you're trying on an obstacle, say for example like a rail, you know you could probably get into the rail every try. It might not flip the same every try, but once again, it's like real-time trials and tribulations because you don't know what can happen. You're constantly trying to figure out like, oh, why is today the board flipping faster than it was yesterday? Like, what am I doing? Am I like kicking it too hard? So your brain is always moving, you know? Like skateboarders is real life like mathematicians because it's like, it's endless. You never like, your ratios are always gonna change. The fluctuation of it is always gonna change. So like, that's what's addicting to, you know, skating.
To that point, because you say you were an athlete, people were begging you to play ball, people were begging you to wrestle. You're an athletic dude. To be honest, some of these people out here don't look that athletic. and you a black man. It's not a black man sport. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does it have to do with athleticism? Like you talking about the math problem of it and all that? Because you athletic, you yoked up, you got your little pit bull legs, you bow-legged. You ain't never want to race no bow-legged
He
person.
definitely feel like an American bully.
Back when we was pulling up, you see somebody bow-legged, don't race them. Because you know that motherfucker fast. But like, what's the cheat code? Playing ball, big, strong, fast, change of direction, you could be good at football.
Factual.
What's the cheat code? Because it doesn't look like everybody that's successful at skating looks the same.
It depends. Like I feel like a lot of that comes from like good core strength and like legs and you know and all that. Cause like once you have good core in skating, like 90%, 99% of it, 98% of skating is like all core. Your legs, you know what I mean? If you have core strength and you obviously have leg strength, you know, surrounding your knee, like that's where the explosion comes from. That's where like, you know, running out of obstacles comes from, braking, all that stuff, landing, you know, learning how to like not overcompensate in certain parts of your body to like take falls and all that stuff. And so some people like, you know, you have it, but you can tell, like if you look around and see people practice, like another one's like Cardano, like he comes from an athletic background, like play football. You'll notice if he's falling, he's rolling out of falls, like springing up. You know, some people might just bug splat. Like, you know, some people don't have this, you know, strength and they've never even learned that. It really just comes down to that. And, you know, like I train a little bit, you know, like 2 times a week. I have a trainer in Los Angeles. Her name's Jessica Alexander. And when I'm working out with her, like she just builds the, you know, the program for what, you know, that person is specific to that person. And, you know, I might have a week of where I'm working on core stuff or, you know, I'm working on leg stuff. And if I go in that week and I'm like, oh, like my you know, my thigh or like my, you know, my legs, muscles are feeling weak around my knee. My knee is feeling a little sore. So, okay, let's make sure we're focusing on your legs to protect your knee.
So
like
really treating it as an athlete.
100%, yeah. And I got more into in my body. I was aware of it, but I would say these past couple of years, I've really like been more in tune and connected with that and just noticing things and understanding the body is like, I really am on top of it.
Yeah, they talking about your physical stature, and it came to mind. You remind me of Terrence Bud Crawford. And
Terrence Bud Crawford, okay.
Yeah, you just remind me of him. And just going back and research.
Much nicer. Much
yeah,
nicer.
a lot nicer. But in the research, you ride goofy.
Yes, sir.
Right? Southpaw in boxing.
Okay.
Be southpaw.
Good.
But Bud can change it up. So my question is, does that even matter? Like, because when you land on the trick, now you're going left foot forward, and your balance and your footwork. Like, does it matter if you're goofy versus regular and all that?
Yeah. So you know, if I'm goofy, my regular stance would be switch. And like what we call a switch. And then if you're regular, your switch stance would be goofy. And you train it. Like some people might have stronger, just regular footed, stance, and they might not skate a lot switch, so you might not see them skate the opposite stance a lot. Or they might have a handful of tricks that like they do switch. But me, coming up skating, like, some of the people that I looked up skating, like, Paul Rodriguez, both ways you can't tell the difference, which is like very rare in skating.
Switch hitter.
Yeah, him and Shane O'Neill, like very technical skateboarders. And if he's skating regular, unless you know his stance, it looks regular. And then he'll switch and you still can't really tell the difference because it's just that fluid for him. But that's like a skill in itself where it's like, those are skaters who like, are like some of the top skaters in the world. Like those two dudes, are pioneers. Like Paul was one like Nike SB's one of like first ever skateboarder, And you watch him skate to this day and you like, bro, like, was that switch or regular? Like he always looks at me because when we skate, because we're both goofy, I'm always like, was that? He's like, bro, you know my stance, bro. I'm like, bro, sometimes I can't tell, like, you feel me? But watching that, me personally, I've always made it like a task of mine to like be strong on both, both stances. So if I go to a park, I'm warming up on like a flat bar obstacle, which is like the rail that's down the stairs, but just on the flat ground. So. And like, I'll do every trick every way that I can, and that'll be like a warm up.
That's lower, so you can sort of learn
just on
it.
flat ground, yeah.
So my question is this: we were talking earlier, which was one of the cool things for me, right? Like this is not our world. We all played football, and a part of playing football for me was it was the easiest thing to do in my neighborhood, right? If Channing had a ball, if Fred had a ball, we could all go outside and do that.
Facts.
Not only could I do that on Sunday, I could go sit down and watch Randall Cunningham do what I wanted to do, right? And as I grew up, I got to see people that looked like me do something I was passionate about. That's not necessarily what skateboarding is for our culture.
Facts.
So for you, as somebody who grew up in it and got to be around it and got to look at people like Rodriguez and say, okay, Paul Rodriguez, and say, okay, that's something I want to emulate. How does Dashawn or how does our community get someone in skateboarding where they could say, hey, that's our Tony Hawk, as you said before this?
Yeah, I would say a huge thing for me, and like that just sparked a whole like perspective about like that I used to think about, which was like I feel like really like pivotal in my career too. Is like in the beginning I didn't see too much, so like I wanted to like imitate a white skater. Like I wanted to be like that was predominantly what the sport was. So I was like, oh, like I want to dress like like that. I want like I want to skate. I want to do tricks. I want to like I wish I could fucking have hair like that. All these things. And so I would think like that. But obviously still being present in like what my culture was, it wasn't until later on, like when I started, having real estate in the space and like becoming a part of, the culture more and getting known and being successful in it. Like I was like, I had a realization. I was like, wait, like this is amazing to be African American in the sport. And I like stapled that and like I took pride in that. And like when I got older, I was like, you know what, like that's a beautiful thing to be in the sport, and represent it, and show that to my culture who's like not really influencing the sport or who's not really a part of it. And so, to this day is like representation is like important to me, and like if I'm inspiring anybody, who looks like me, who like have even thought about skating, and maybe if they see one of my videos, because sometimes I get DMs like that, it's a blessing, or if I'm talking to parents, of African American kids and they stress to me how much it means to them seeing somebody that looks like their kid. I had a video from a woman she sent me some time ago, and I actually had to screen record, and I have this video to this day, and like she was like just made a whole Instagram story about like her son, like coming to her and telling her he wanted to skate, and he was so happy to see somebody who looked like him, and and all that. And for me, that's all that matters. Like money never really, at one point in my career, I'm not gonna lie, I was passionate and I wanted to make more money, but then like as I got a little more mature and understood how important it was just to show up and be here, that's like anything I do it for. Like any stage, X Games, anything I place, I'm just like, I just want to be there just to like show, that you can do it and do it. It don't matter. Like I think it's a cool thing to like meet people and intrigue them. Like, yo, like I'll be on the plane and people like, what do you do? Like, I'm like, oh, I skate. And they're like, no, like, what do you do? And I'm like, no, like, I skate. Like, that's like that's what I do. Like, that's my job. Like, what do you mean? And people get intrigued. Like, they're like, what?
Bro, it's always a goal that got to be a finish line, especially for all athletes. That finish line. So for you to be the Black Tony Hawk,
yeah.
What, like, you got to have goals to set. What are those goals that you got set in your mind? If it ain't about money, if it ain't about, you know what I'm saying? They got to be goals because athletes always have that next step they want to get to.
100%. I mean, first of all, I just want to be able to take care of my family with this. And then, I want to build a community. I want to build things. I want to build resources and things for people who, who look like me or who even who don't look like me, who want to feel included in part of the space so that they feel welcomed. And, whether that's a company, whether that's like a contest, I don't know, partner with X Games to do something cool for like from where I'm from or whatever it is. I just want to continue to like set up like generational things to like keep growing, and bring it back to skating, because it is a thing. Like, I don't know how many people are probably at home, whether they're kids or parents, who have curiosity about the sport but won't do it because it might not predominantly be a black sport, So I just want to keep doing that, and just going to just like, keep helping and, expand on skateboarding and build a community.
Yeah,
for sure.
you talk about community, and obviously skateboarding isn't your only passion. You're big into music.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
And in that's the reason you titled your album The Bridge, right?
Yeah.
Can you take us into that a little bit?
So yeah, The Bridge, that kind of came about as inspiration just through like kind of like the journey of like, trying to be multifaceted and having the both worlds coexist, like music and skating. Because there were some people who tried back in the day, like, Terry Kennedy and Jimmy Rogers, but it didn't really like cross over well, and it wasn't really respected and received by skating, and, they kind of got, like booed on it,
right.
And things went south, they stopped skating or whatever happened. And for me, my whole, thing was like, I just want to do it because one, I love music and I know what's possible. So like, I want to just be undeniable.
Right.
Like, and how do I get as good as I can and show my passion through it to where it's receivable and like they coexist, because I want this to go over and do stuff with skating and music and all this stuff. And it's been a blessed journey because it's worked out, like really well for me. I've been blessed with that. And, like I do stuff, whether I'm doing like X Games stuff, sometimes I'm dropping in, they're playing my song when I drop in.
That's dope.
And I don't even know, like it just like, I used to skate a lot with AirPods and I wouldn't even know they were playing my song while I was skating until like after my run, I took out my AirPod. And I was like, oh, like they playing, you know what I mean? So to see that has been cool, like even culturally too, just to see them accept it, because in skating, like, man, anybody here will tell you, like, that is, like, unheard of. Like, it's such, like, and I always use as an example, I'm like, how come if somebody, they in a band, it was cool using the music for skate, but anytime somebody said rap because of the past history, it was like, oh, don't be a Jeremy Rogers, don't be a Terry Kennedy, and I was like, bro, like, we gotta do something about that. So, I've been all gas, no brakes.
RC is super tight with Mr. Carter.
Okay,
so
yeah,
y'all can probably barter for lessons for a verse.
Oh, I'm sure he probably skated with him or something before he been around him. You said Ty Dolla $ign came out and skated with you, huh?
Yeah, it was going good, man. He like, he had a passion for skating, back then, and started getting into it, just rolling around, and it was short-lived. He ain't came back since he had his accident.
What was the accident? Wait, tell me about Ty Dolla $ign had an accident, because I tried.
Yeah.
Was I better than Ty Dolla $ign, or did he just try something I couldn't do?
I mean, the good thing is, like, I just got low-key a little bit PTSD from it, so I refuse to let you attempt rolling down that bank in front of me. But I mean, for today, you look, like, he's a little more solid, like, rolling around flat ground. Like, you a little shaky, but it's okay. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna judge you on that,
He slid it up in there quick.
Yeah, so we go.
What can we expect from you, though, in X Games this year?
If they're playing music I like, dancing on the course, smiling, trying to keep the vibes high, skate, give it my all, try to put some runs together, you know what I mean? Like, that's all that matters, but more importantly, just like have a good time.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to be here, so like I'm not trying to get mad over falling on a trick. It's like, man, I'm here like at the X Games, with the homies, and it's a blessing to share this environment with everybody. So
I will say this, man, your energy though throughout this entire thing has been amazing. Getting an opportunity just to see you practice, the way you come over, show love, dap us up. Like, you are an ambassador for skateboarding. And if they continue to understand the amount that you could reach a different genre, a different culture of people, man, they'll keep pushing you forward. Just keep doing your thing, bro.
I appreciate
man, it's a pleasure,
man.
bro.
That means a lot, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, bro. That was great.
I got some stuff for y'all before I get out of here. So this board right here is just for the podcast in general. Like, it's one of my pro boards. This is like a little cultural moment for me, because this graphic was kind of like imitated off of like Pharrell, Skateboard P, the Neptunes, all that. So this was a board graphic I wanted to give to y'all from the culture of the merging. You know what I mean?
Bro, that's hard, bro.
Yeah.
Where's the board for the bigger guys?
So now we ain't got no wheels on the boards, and then I brought some stuff because my brother is also a big fan of you guys, and he has a brand that's like, athletic wear and stuff. It's called Pineapple Panda. And I was like, yo, I'm going to podcast. I would love to gift them some stuff. So I brought 2 shirts and 2 hats. So if you a hat guy, let me
He's
know
a
if
hat
you
guy. I'm a shirt
hat
guy.
guy. Okay, bet.
Appreciate
I
you,
wanted to bring
brother.
y'all that, man. Thank y'all for having me.
He got the colors right, though.
Yeah, look,
We got the colors right.
He love it. Yeah.
We got the colors
Yeah.
right. I love that.
But the shoes, though, I got you. I'm gonna announce this right now because a lot of people don't even know this, and it's a blessing for me. Another accomplishment in my career was I got a shoe coming out next year with SB a Dunk.
Yes, sir.
So I would love to get y'all information
yeah.
so I can send y'all and make sure you're on the seating list to get the Dunk as well.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Hey,
I appreciate
Hey,
y'all.
good luck,
Yes,
bro.
sir. Thank you, brother.
Respect, for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Whatever, man.
Hey, you trying to get more free stuff?
Hey, drop the low, man. I might.
Hey, that's lovely.
What up, brother?
How's it going?
Boy,
Man,
I
we
tell
super
you,
good.
if I had an
What's up,
accent
baby?
like
Good to
that,
See ya.
boy.
Oh, man, nice to meet
Yes,
you,
sir.
brother. Yes, sir. Yes,
to see
sir.
you.
Also, Ryan.
How's it going?
Pleasure, man.
Yeah,
So
good to see ya.
we'll call you R. Willie the whole time.
You can call me that.
Hey, so they don't get confused.
That's what everyone else calls me.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that Naruto?
Yeah. That's Naruto.
With the hand
I got
cross?
Dragon Ball Z Goku.
Okay.
I got
Ooh, I
Luffy.
know that hurt.
Yeah.
Luffy, Goku.
And
My
then this
guys.
is Tengen. I don't know if you know Jujutsu Kaisen, but that's Gojo. I got it all.
I like the
Anime.
fingers crossed with it.
That's it.
That's dope.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, Ryan Williams, man. I mean, biker, BMX, scooter, just honestly, just an absolute superstar. Thank you for sitting
you.
with us at the Pivot. This is Channing Crowder. This is Fred Taylor and Ryan Clark. Pivot fam, thank you for pivoting with us. First off, congratulations on the fam, man.
Thank
the
you.
baby. How has that changed you, though?
Best trick I ever landed, my son.
That's cool.
But I feel like I thought it was gonna make me like a little bit worried, you know, dropping in. Am I gonna think of my son? And it's like if I break my arm right now, I'm not gonna be able to hold my son. And I thought, man, am I gonna think about that? But it kind of just made me more calculated. So before I drop in, I kind of just run through the tricks twice as much as I used to. I've been pretty good with like staying out of injuries. So it just kind of heightened that aspect of my life and the way I think, and it's paid off. It's worked out pretty well so far.
Apparently, you worked on, what is it, like Free Willy?
Oh, yeah,
like 1,000. They said 1,000 times now.
Yeah, so my most technical trick, basically, I do a backflip and I throw my bike,
Yes.
it does a front flip, and then I meet it and then land. Like, it took me over 1,000 tries, took me like, so it was 11 different days, and on a mega ramp, like on a big ramp, that's a lot. Like, down the skate park, you'd do 1,000 tries and it'd take you like, maybe a few days, but on my ramp, that was a grueling process, but then I landed, everyone gets to see it. They're like, oh, cool, look. I show them, oh, yeah, nice. What's the next trick?
Yeah, I
So,
love that,
Ryan,
man.
999 misses to get the win?
Oh, not exactly, you know, I'm not counting like that. But I had the footage and my camera told me how many times, like I basically had a folder of the attempts. It was over 1,000.
Yeah. And to your point about now with your son, with your family, do you take risk reward into account when you're trying to do something?
100%. So like here at X Games, the reward's higher. So I'm willing to roll the dice a little bit more. So, but at home, it's like, I'm much more calculated. It's like, okay, I can do 15 double backflips before I even try one triple backflip. You know,
Right.
that's the way I kind of go about it. But here, I don't know, like it's not like that. You kind of gotta press the button and go quicker.
Ryan forgot to add a title to you. I saw you rollerblading downhill with an ab roller, planking.
Oh, yeah, that was a silly clip that I did about 4 or 5 years ago. Mate, if you look on the internet enough, you can see me doing a lot of things, including, I jump a couch like 40 feet at Nitro Circus. It's like this live show, and it's like this, but way comfier. It's like a lounge chair, and I jump it 40 feet through the air. So you can see me on a lot of things.
But Ryan, where does it all come from? Like, when you were like this big, like, did your parents think you were like an Evel Knievel, just crazy daredevil? Like, where did it all come from?
You know what? I was like pretty chill as a kid. That's what my mom said. And then obviously I raced BMX. It kind of got me into like taking a little bit of risk, right? Like racing BMX. But then I think I just fell in love with the skate park because there's like no right or wrong way to do it. And I started on rollerblades because rollerblades was all I had. You know, I started like, cause I used to go to the roller drome, you know, where you just go around in circles. Yeah. And that's basically all my mum had bought me before I seen the Ultimate X movie. And then I'm like, I want to go to the skate park. What do I got? And it was like, the only thing with wheels is the rollerblades. And then I just kind of picked everything up from then.
Right, and you talk about here at the X Games, just going all out, not really thinking. But something has to scare you, right? What scares you the most, if there's anything? Falling, failing?
Yeah, so obviously, probably falling. I'm thinking about, there's like you can have some bad crashes, especially I have mates that are paralyzed. I know people that have died like doing action sports. So there is always fear. I always have fear. I tell people that because people think you're not scared or you don't have fear, and I tell people, no, like I have fear. You're smart. If you have fear, your brain is telling you the right thing. You have to feel fear, but it's about being calculated. It's about having the confidence to overcome the fear, and that's how I always have the fear before I drop, but I have the confidence to roll in and overcome it.
I think it was 2023, Ryan. You had 4 medals. Right, the first to ever do it, but that wasn't an easy X Games for you. You lost a friend, death by suicide. You also donated those winnings to the Casey family. Can you talk about a little bit of going into those games, having to deal with the loss of a friend and also understanding what you were working for?
Yeah, I think it was just, I was wearing his helmet on my head when I rode that whole X Games. So
and it was Luke.
Luke Berlin. He was my best friend forever. And I wore his helmet at X Games. And then obviously I was close friends with Pat Casey. And I just believe that like they gave me some strength, so I give back to them. And then obviously, without Pat there, like he might have won that contest. So it's like as my way of giving back to Pat for what he brought to my life and what he brought to the people's lives around me, I just thought, why not? It's easy. That's an easier thing to do.
Is that the same X Games where they had like prostitutes and crackheads by your hotels though?
What happened now? I ain't hear about this one.
If you look close enough, you can find them anywhere.
Hey, Ryan, you're a fan favorite. People love you, and you're always out there and you amping up the crowd and all. Is it the showmanship? I know you got sponsorships. Is it hard to get the showmanship where like you're about to go do a very athletic, difficult physical thing to do, but you'll still be smiling, laughing, messing with the fans, and then go do, like you say, a triple backflip where your damn bike is going the other way, you're going one way, and then you're getting up talking to fans.
Man, it's like perspective. That's the thing. It's just like, I used to be the kid, and then imagine if Tony Hawk stopped to talk to me before he did a 900.
Yeah.
It's like that. If you just think for 1 second that like 5 seconds of my time might be like worth something that they remember for a lifetime. Like it's not always like that, but that's the way I think, and I get energy from that because they've got youthful energy. They're excited to see me. I want to be excited to see them. So that's just the way I kind of think about it, and I've got that from one of the legends of the sport, like Travis Pastrana. He's going to be here this weekend. I just watched him. I held Travis Pastrana to like God, Travis Pastrana, and then I met Travis Pastrana, and he was like, "Oh, Willie, what's up? How's it going? Wow, that trick was insane." And I'm like, "What is going on?" Travis Pastrana is my best friend. It was like the greatest thing I could think of for until I seen him again. It was like, wow, this guy is the greatest human on earth. And that moment just kind of solidified it. When I got up there, I remember that moment. So if I can give that moment to someone else, it can inspire greatness, like it inspired greatness within me.
So with that, do you have any advice for the next generation?
Yeah, my biggest advice is like, the best thing about action sports to me is that it's not a straight line. I know like in other sports, it's like go, who crosses the finish line. In action sports, it's like, bro, go, I'm going this way, that way, this way. Like you can take any path and it can lead to success. That's the greatest thing about action sports for me, because there's no right or wrong way. You'll see someone drop in later on and it'll be completely different to someone else's run, but they're both just as great. And I just love the fact that you can have something like that in action sports.
How do you develop friendships? In football, it's a little different, because I'm going out there and I'm trying to hit that guy, or I'm trying to take that guy out. And it's difficult for me to build friendships with people on other teams because I'm like, I don't want to actually know you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't want you to do well. We saw everybody during the practice run, and you're so close to these guys and in their space. How does that work with building friendships within the game?
I think the one thing about action sports, obviously in your game, like you can die still, you can crash. People have got injured really bad, and obviously I don't think you just want to do that. You don't want to do that, win. But there's a level where you're like, oh, I want to hurt this guy so I can, score. But for us, it's kind of like the same thing. Like we want to do our best, but we also just want to beat the other person's best, because the other person's worst can be death, can be injury, and we don't want that. So that's why there's such a camaraderie between everyone in action sports, because the losing isn't just losing, it can be injury, it can be death. So it's like we want everyone to go out there, be safe, do their best on the day wins, we all celebrate.
What if somebody beat you
with my own
with
trick?
the free willy?
Now we're talking. Now, I don't know, maybe now I'm starting to grip my teeth a bit. But honestly, if someone does that free willy trick, my hardest trick, and they can do it within 5 runs, well done, mate. I'm gonna go on a vacation.
You wouldn't go tell them good job. You go after they landed, you gonna tell them great job.
Honestly, I know how hard it was to do, so you go tell them good job.
Do you feel like that trick is sort of your own Simone Biles, right? Like Simone Biles has a trick that they named after her because they hadn't seen it. And it was something that she was able to create, obviously one of the greatest of all time. You've been so successful in this too. Do you see that trick, the free willy, as one of those that like, that's mine?
Yeah, I think it took me so long to try that I think like, if it does get done, it's probably, we'll see how far in the future. But there is, other tricks, like there's a trick called these are named by Travis Pastrana, all right? So that's why they're named so crazy, but it's called the Silly Willy, all right? And I did that one 10 years ago, right? And then nowadays, like there's a guy named W, he's trying to land that in best trick. So there is actually a chance, it's not gonna be the free willy, but the Silly Willy, there is a chance that is gonna beat me in a few days, so we're gonna get a live like experiment of how I react, but I don't know. I feel like when you do it first, you kind of push the path for the future generation, and that's why I always try to do a trick that's never been done before. That's why I strive to that's why I try 1,000 tries to try something new, to learn something new, because I know there's a kid in 10 years that's gonna do it way quicker than 1,000 tries, and I love it, I embrace it. Whatever you can do to push the sport now, it almost just unlocks this, it's like a video game. It unlocks this character in people's, or this trick in people's mind, like all of a sudden the trick's easier.
Right.
When it wasn't, like I do a trick and a week later it's easier because I just did it. It's crazy. I think I love the aspect of life. It's in everywhere really, you know? Someone just thinks of an idea and then everyone's like, why didn't I think of that idea? It just appears out of somewhere.
How do you search out that creativity? Because when you are trying to do something that no one before you has done, like I think you're right. If somebody watched Fred Taylor make a certain move at running back, now they go practice that move. I remember when Michael Jordan against the Lakers did the one arm up and under the goal, we were all outside afterwards trying to do it, but that was the first time we had ever seen it. How do you continue to push the envelope though, to do different things you've never seen?
I think you get inspiration from elsewhere, and I get most of my inspiration just from within. Like you kind of just dive within yourself, close your eyes. I can ride my BMX with my eyes closed, you know? It's just like someone can close their eyes and you can write your name, you know? There's about a 99% chance that you're gonna do it right. Well, for me, I can try a trick in my mind, and I almost have a 99% chance that that's how it's gonna play out in real life, you know? So I just practice in my brain, and I go, whoa, okay, I've thrown the bike forwards, and I've tried to backflip off my bike and jump back on. I've kind of done both of those. Let's combine them. And it's just like, to people, I think the only thing I have over other people is the confidence and the persistence and the will to just do it. Even if it's not working the first time, even if it's not working the 500th time, even if it's not working the 1,000th time, I honestly, with all my being, believe that the 1,000th and first try is gonna be the one I land it.
Talk about scooters a little bit.
Yeah.
Electric or push, kick?
Kick scoot. I started on scooters when I was, I'd say about 12 years old, and that was because I was rollerblading by myself at the skate park, and I'd borrow people's shoes and their scooters because I just rocked up on rollerblades. I didn't need shoes. So I ended up borrowing people's shoes and their scooter to ride with them. And eventually I just wanted to ride with everyone else because that was like my favorite part of the skate park. At first, I'd kind of just do the same tricks as everyone, but on rollerblades. And then I figured out that, no, that's not how people rollerblade. I went to a contest and they were like grinding rails from 100-meter rails. I'm like, no, I'm doing flips in the air. And they're like, oh, well, that doesn't score as good. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm doing maybe I want to do something different. So I jumped on the scooter and that just stuck. And I'm still doing well first on scooter, but just kind of BMX as well, because I knew the tricks I was doing on scooter, I'm like, they weren't doing them on BMX. And they were like, oh, yeah, because you can't do them on BMX. That's why you're only doing them on scooter. I'm like, hold my beer. I was probably too young to have a beer, but I was like, hold my Fanta. Hold my Monster Energy. I can do it, and I end up doing it.
Hell, you whatever you doing, keep drinking whatever you're drinking.
Right.
When you do those crazy tricks, as we've all seen it on bikes and scooters and all, when do you know that you can, it's after you land or when you leave the ground, you're like, I got this?
You know what? That's a great question, because it depends on the trick. Sometimes it's like all off the start, and sometimes you don't know till the end. Usually you get like a feel, so it's probably, I don't know the exact percentage, but I'll come off the lip and I'm like, yeah, 50-50. And then as I'm going through, it's like ticking up. All right, one flip. Come around second flip, 90%, but that could go to 0 real quick, boom! That's the worst part. When you're 95%, yeah, and then you go back to about 20% in a millisecond, that's when it's real bad. Because if you know you're crashing, you can crash. If you don't know you're crashing and you think you're landing, you don't land, you are in shit town.
Yeah, we watched people out here practicing today, and it was crash after crash, fall after fall, and they would just pick up their skateboards, go back to the top, and start over. How do you become comfortable with failure? Because in learning a lot of these tricks, you have to fail before you succeed.
Oh yeah. And the skateboard is just so finesse. So skateboards really finesse. So, you know, they're only sometimes they're very high off the ground, but most of the time you can see they're kind of like lower to the ground. And I think that's a disadvantage. Like if you walk over to the side, you'll see the dirt jumps. That's what I'm riding. Those things are like, I think it's 34 feet is the first one. So I got a lot of time to think about how I'm gonna hit the ground. But that in turn with that, I can't fall off. 5 times falling off, oh mate, I'll be hobbling to the back. So, but you just get like just okay with falling down. I'm a professional crasher first and foremost, before I'm a professional anything else, because if you can fall, you can get back up and try again, and you can eventually land the trick. So for me, it is about being able to crash and pick yourself up, and I guess the mindset sets in. It's also physically hard. Obviously, if you hurt, you can't fall, but it's mentally. You got to be mentally strong.
Yeah, I think that's the toughest thing that I've noticed just in watching. The amount of practice you have to put in just to get close to landing the jump or landing the trick, and having that consistency and that persistence to say, okay, I'm a step closer now, so that's not necessarily the failure that the last one was.
Right. Now, I just had a crazy way off question for you. Because you said, I saw your story and you said they didn't put any resi in.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't do anything. What is resi? I don't have.
So basically, that's a joke, because people, sorry, mate, since I was a young kid, I've been getting shit, right? So I like to lean into it because it sets a fire under my fucking ass and it makes me go nuts, right? So I like to set an own fire under my butt sometimes. But basically, a resi is like a plastic sheet, and I have at home, right? I have a practice jump. So you obviously have the dirt. It's kind of hard. It's not as hard as concrete, but to fall on it, it kind of hurts. But at my house, I have like an airbag, and then it's got like a plastic resi over the top. So, but then when I do tricks at home, people are like, that doesn't count because it's not to dirt, right? And in a way, I'm like, yeah, it's less dangerous, but I still land the trick. I still get the practice. But people like to say like, oh, he can't do his tricks to dirt. And that's why I lean in. I'm like, damn it, they didn't put the resi in this time. So then when I go out there and I do all my tricks, I'm like,
how much does personality matter in this? You know, like, you're fun to talk to, you're actively engaging. And I think one of the best things in the world about an athlete who's an elite athlete like yourself is to be able to make fun of yourself.
Yeah.
How much has your personality continued to help your brand grow along with being skillful at what you do?
Yeah, you can lose the game, but you can win the show, you know? It's like, who makes the best play? Sometimes that's remembered forever. Sometimes the scoreboard at the end of the time isn't remembered as much as that moment.
Yeah.
And if you can win the moment with your personality, with the trick, then even if you lose, you still win. You're never like really losing. So that's kind of a mentality to have. And these guys, there's so many people that just have so much more skill and they're so incredible at riding and they just don't embrace their own personality. They kind of like just within themselves, do my best. Sometimes the best, they didn't do their best. And then they fall on, that falls on, well, my whole being was winning. I didn't win. And it kind of like can, you know, bring you down. Whereas if you just think of your personality and you put on a good show, you can always win.
Hey, with other, you call it action sports, but with our football, basketball, baseball, I would say the normal sports.
Yeah.
Whatever, like we all look at each other differently. Like football players, we the tough dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, boxers, y'all bitches are crazy. Like we look at it from the, like you say, the big jump guys to the skaters to the bikers to the BMX to the different guys. Is there like a thought or a stereotype that y'all talk shit about each other?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't talk too much shit because we almost just respect what it is. Like the moto guys, fuck. Keep me the fudge away from that. Like that's like, you know how you're like, you fall over, you get back up. I'll tell you what, if the moto guys fall over, they don't get back up. That's it, you know? So in that aspect, we respect, well, this is like do or die kind of situation for them. And then you get to the skaters, it's so finesse, it's so technical that you could never, no one would even drop in if you had the same crashes as a motorbike did, but you had to do a skateboard trick. I tell you what, no one would even drop in because the consequences are far too dire. So it's like that we respect different aspects. I watch, these guys are riding street now on BMX and it's like more finesse, it's more technical. It's like, it's so hard to be that consistent. Whereas on the big jump, the dirt jumps, it's more like a bit burly, like roll the dice, hopefully I make it, but my trick isn't as technical as like what they're doing here. And it's the same within each sport, but you just look at it different. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to think like maybe baseballs, it's not as like you're hitting the ball, but it's probably so, like it's so technical, you know, like
hand-eye.
Hand-eye, hit the ball, tunk, but it's not like you don't hit the ball and someone fucking, like, you know, imagine that.
I'd watch that though. I'd definitely watch it. You could get punched in your face running down the first base line.
It's how you look at golf until you play golf.
Yeah.
Man, they just hitting the ball sitting still.
Oh, yeah.
Go hit that little ass ball and see what happens.
Even with all of that, those were like sports staples, right?
Yeah.
All of those different sports. X Games was kind of one of those things people kind of looked at and said, that's a whole lot of other crazy stuff out there. But here we are 30 years later. Take us back to that moment when young Ryan said, I can't wait to pull up to the X Games so I can show people what I got.
Yeah, I think it comes back to the path. I'm sure there's many different paths for the normal sport, like the stereotypical sports.
Right.
There's like, I'm sure you could kind of zig and zag in those sports, but I feel like it's pretty like straight line. Like you kind of have a path here, but you can have your own style. I just love the fact that action sports, and that's probably why it's like not as mainstream, it's just kind of more art. It's more artsy. It's more just like, you kind of got to make yourself cool. That's what I've done. Like when I first did my stuff, it was like lame. And then I'm like, okay, I just keep doing my stuff. And then eventually they're like, it's kind of fucking cool now. Like, here, give me a medal. I'm like, yeah. Like at the start, they're like, what is this? Get this shit out of here. And then you just keep doing it. And then they come around. So I don't know if it's like that, like in baseball or football, but.
I love that.
Yeah.
You've done this so many times. By the way, you have a future in commentating. I know you did that for the Olympics. That's really awesome. What do you expect to bring this weekend at this X Games?
This X Games, I mean, it's just crazy. The level of competition is just insane. So it's almost like you think that your first gold medal is going to be the hardest one to win, but it ends up like, as you go on, you're like, okay, now I got to beat the people that are getting better than last year. And it's kind of like everyone's just getting so good. And obviously at the same time, I'm trying to get so much better. But that just means like what you're going to see this weekend is a next level, the greatest level of action sports leveled up from last year. If you think the top's here, expect here, because I mean I'm bringing tricks that have never been done before in competition, and you know I'm rolling the dice.
Yeah.
Hey bro, do y'all ever age out? Are you gonna get too old to land some of those things? What's the age? You age out?
Yeah, you age out. I mean, I feel like I used to be the young guy, and now I'm the 31-year-old old guy. I'm like, man, come on. But I feel like I've got at least 4 or 5 more years. But the thing is, now it's like, I can't get the crashes and get back up. I get back up and I'm like, my back hurts. I'm like, my back hurts too much. Give me some time to warm up. I got to do some stretches. But you age out, yeah. But you just got to get it done while you can. That's why you'll see me full send mode.
Am I right, Ryan? You've never competed in the Olympics?
Never competed in the Olympics. So you're gonna see, so BMX it's like dancing, right?
Okay.
It's like asking, if you were to ask who's the best in BMX, it's like saying who's the best dancer in the world. And someone's gonna be like, oh, this ballerina. And someone's gonna be like, this break dancer, this tap dancer. You know, it's like so many different ways to dance that you can't even pinpoint like the best one. So in the Olympics, there's only park, which is not, this is street. So the park is the course just over the top there. And that's what's in the Olympics, you know? So dirt isn't in the Olympics, street's not in the Olympics. So it's kind of, they've picked up the park, BMX, and it's a great way to start because it's a spectacle, it's 60 seconds. But for me, like I'm only out here doing 6 jumps or 1 jump.
Okay.
And so the guys that are doing it dedicate their life. So it'd be disrespectful for me to jump in there, you know? It's like a full different sport.
Man, I love that. Well, man, best of luck this weekend, bro. You are absolutely awesome. Love your energy.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting us learn a little bit about your world, man. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, and enjoy the X Games.
My man, thank you, fam.
Thanks,
bro, his
Ryan.
energy is crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bro, his
Appreciate
energy is
it.
amazing, man.
Appreciate it, sir, bro.
Thanks, y'all.
Appreciate you, Ryan.
Bro, when you finally
Good luck, bro.
decided to
Sure.
propose and start a family, was it a big change for you, just in the sense of like how you saw what your sport was?
Yeah, it
from a
becomes,
health?
before it was all on me. I hurt myself, it's all on me. Now it's like my family, they rely on me. So it became more of a, I'm doing this for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a fire.
Yeah, a lot of times for us, like that's always the why. You know, a lot of us come from neighborhoods and places where you don't grow up with money. And so you always like, okay, I want to put myself in a better position, my kids in a better position.
Yeah.
But then when you actually get those kids, it's a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
And so I always wonder, with such a dangerous sport, you know what I mean, how that would affect the psyche of the way you do
and it used to be like when I was young, it was like having a drink. Like it was like riding my bike. It was like a risk, you take a risk. But now it's like the same thing. It's like, I don't want to take the risks. I don't want to have a drink and then have to ride tomorrow because I can risk my life. I can risk not being able to pick up my son. So it's like, that's where you like pull back, you go, okay, make the right decision.
I love that, man.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling.